Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. US markets were up about 0.4% to almost 0.2% as we had some important news in the form of the exit of Mr. Summer as the contender of Fed chairman. So now the expectation is that the current vice president of Fed will become the Fed chairman, and she has a very aggressive dovish stance, and she is known for her accommodative policy, and that has led to some kind of a rally across the global markets. European markets too were marginally up about 0.2 to about 0.25%. And when we look at the Asian markets today morning, most of the markets are up about 1.25%. Hang Seng is up. Japan is shut today, and SGX Nifty is suggesting that we are going to open up almost about 100 points at about 5970 or thereabouts. On Friday, we had a flattish kind of a session wherein there was some amount of cooling off across IT names and some of the other stocks, but overall there was a good amount of stability in the market. In terms of flows, FIs were net sellers in the cash market to the tune of 100 crore. The domestic institutions too were sellers to the tune of 150 crore, and in the index future no major action, net buying of almost about 7 crore by the FIIs. Rupee has stabilized to about 63.49, and importantly Brent crude too has come down to 111. So we would definitely have a gap up start, and there could be some amount of stability in the market around 5,950 levels or thereabouts. On that note, let me invite Shaival to take us through important F&O cues, data and strategies that we can have in the F&O markets.
Good morning friends, let's have a view at derivatives. Friends, in Friday's trade we have seen that markets were trading in a narrow range of around 60 to 70 points, and multiple number of time it oscillated between negative and positive bias, but finally markets have managed to end on a flattish note as we have seen some short positions being closed by the market participants. Now talking about the PCR ratio has increased marginally from 1.32 to 1.33, and which is been clearly reflecting on the positions that are available on the option matrix. It's currently suggesting that 5,900 call as well as put option and 6,000 call as well as put option has seen a good amount of activity taking place in Friday's trade, whereas on the low side it's clearly visible that comparatively higher number of activity has been taking place in 5,800, 700 and 600 strike. Now talking about the VWAP, friends, our VWAP is 5,700, so on intermediate basis this level would act as a good support for the market, and on higher side 6050 is probably the higher range which we have been eyeing for the week. But today's SGX Nifty is suggesting a gap up opening of more than 120, 130 points. So because of which probably this target would be achieved on intraday basis today. So we feel that the momentum in the market would continue. From intraday perspective, one can go long in Adani Enterprise by maintaining a stop loss of 140 rupees 10 paisa. Thank you.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, the WPI inflation data is likely to be out by the end of the day, and this number is likely to be about 5.7% versus about 5.79% the previous month. The WPI inflation is definitely looking good, but the issue remains with the CPI inflation data, which continues to remain higher at about 9.6%. This is going to be important from the perspective of the RBI policy meet, which is lined up on 20th. In other news development, 6 shale gas blocks with an estimated reserves of about 50 billion cubic feet of gas are likely to be put up for auction, and 2 of these blocks are in Raniganj and have estimated viable reserves of about 50 billion cubic meters. And in another important development, agrochemical firm Bayer Crop Science have signed an agreement with Deccan Fine Chemicals to sell its Gujarat based unit for a little over rupees 127 crore. Ministry of Power has sought the federal cabinet's approval for a secondary share sale of state-run Power Grid Corporation of India, which means that Power Grid could come up for divestment for the second round. So there could be some negative reaction in the Power Grid stock on the back of this development. In other important development, as the Fed meeting is likely to start from Tuesday, and the general expectation is that they are going to start off with about $10 billion of tapering, and that could spark off rally across the markets. And some of the stocks that could benefit from this development are stocks like ICICI Bank Axis Bank and Tata Motors. So one can go long on ICICI Bank with a stop loss of 922 and a target of about 969 to about 987. Axis Bank one can go long with a stop loss of 1037 and a target of about 1089 to almost about 1100. And Tata Motors one can go long with a stop loss of 326 and a target of about 343 to about 349. Hindustan Unilever, Colgate and GSK consumers have raised prices by anywhere from 2 to 12% on various products due to volatile rupee, and one can go long on HUL on the back of that with a stop loss of 609 and a target of about 641 to about 653. Sun Pharma, some positive news as the company has received US FDA final approval for the generic version of Prevacid. So one can go long on Sun Pharma with a stop loss of 553 and a target of about 581 to about 592. And Ranbaxy, some negative news as US FDA has issued an import alert on the Ranbaxy's Mohali plant, which is huge in terms of product contribution for the company. This plant had already got a form 483 in May 2012. So now it is followed up with an import alert. So there could be a quick negative reaction to the Ranbaxy stock in today's market. So one can short Ranbaxy with a stop loss of 466 and a target of about 443 to about 433. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session and see you tomorrow at the same time.